Morning, classmates. Teresa Falcone here to deliver our final presentation, Communication Style of Two Leaders. Who hasn't received a medical bill at home and wonder, I have insurance, why do I have to pay so much? I think we all have. Whether it be from a hospital stay, physician practice office visit, specialist visit, MRI, CT lab work, you name it. The list can go on. And those with insurance always say, I pay for insurance, so why should I have to pay? It's interesting. A study from David Squires with the Commonwealth Fund indicates that the United States has the most expensive healthcare in the entire world. So then you stop and ask yourself, why? Are we getting better quality? Actually, no. We have the greatest expenditures, but also in turn, have the lowest quality outcomes, unfortunately. Statistically, the United States, as a percentage, has the highest cost of healthcare expenditures within the gross domestic product. This additionally was a study from the Commonwealth Fund. My daughter, 5-year-old daughter, has life-threatening food allergies, and she requires to have 2 epinephrine injectors accessible at all times. As a mom, as a professional in healthcare for 22 years, this was extremely frightening to our family. I fear the day our insurance doesn't cover the epinephrine injectors. We have 10 sets of those. Do the math, it's $600 each. There are people out there with no coverage who have to pay out of pocket for these and who go and chance and risk without life-saving medication or services. Atul Gawande is a surgeon who also has a master's in public health, who is a world-renowned leader, advocate, and speaker on our broken healthcare system. On the flip side, Joe Biden, also a leader who perseveres towards access and coverage for all Americans to have equal access to healthcare as a right and not just a privilege. Those that have good incomes and make good money and have good jobs with healthcare coverage should not be the only ones who have access to life-saving medicine and access to care. And they should not be the ones that are overcrowding our emergency departments day by day due to the healthcare laws that state you cannot turn anybody away without a proper assessment from an emergency department due to EMTALA laws. Atul Gawande, the interesting thing about him is he's so passionate, not afraid to speak up. The physician peer-to-peer arena can be very intimidating, and they tend to stick together like glue, just knowing from being in the profession for so long. For him to go outside of the box and dig and find and do studies to ask that question and tear down the walls of that cost conundrum of healthcare. Why does it cost so much? Dr. Gawande did a study in McAllen, Texas, because McAllen, Texas had the most expensive healthcare in the state. And for a small rural town, that really burdened some questions. Ironically, his study indicates that physicians were overusing healthcare, unnecessary tests, doing tests over, redundancy, repetitive things such as MRIs and CTs, which are 2 of the most expensive tests that you could possibly ever get. These people were left with these bills, driving up costs, which in turn can drive up insurance contract rates as well. The tests weren't necessary. The quality of care and the health of that population was actually very low. So ordering those tests did nothing. Expensive healthcare doesn't necessarily mean better healthcare. Atul Gawande preaches that and promotes it all over the world. He is a safety advocate. And again, the topic of healthcare is such a politically correct arena. And it just goes on and on and on. Looking at Vice President Joe Biden, who has been on the quest for equal access to everyone since his days in the Senate by creating the Biden Care Plan, which had multiple steps in it and indicates how everybody would have equal access to health care, and in many, many different facets. And healthcare in general is extremely multifaceted. So whatever comes into play has to be very, very thorough, broad, innovative, and come from all angles. Joe Biden and Atul Gawande are two of the most persistent leaders that I've had the pleasure to compare for their quest in healthcare access for the Americans. Joe Biden had a great stake during his vice presidency of the Obama era with the Accountable Care Act. The Accountable Care Act is a very controversial topic. We all know that. I cringe when I hear the term Obamacare because it is the Accountable Care Act, being accountable to cover American lives. Now, granted, some of the states did not choose to accept a lot of these plans from the Accountable Care Act or the healthcare exchange, if you will. South Carolina being one of those states, unfortunately. However, it did provide coverage for catastrophic events, which we all know the cost from one catastrophic hospital stay could either put people in bankruptcy, lose their house, lose everything. I have witnessed people have $100,000 claims. Cancer. You never know. May not pay so much on the low end, but on the high end, it could save you from major financial trouble. Again, Atul Gawande and Vice President Joe Biden continue this quest. And they are two of the most respectful men I have ever had the pleasure to research and read about. One thing about Joe Biden I don't believe a lot of people know is he was about to put his home up for sale to pay for his son Beau's cancer treatment. President Obama begged him not to do it, that he would financially help him. This is our vice president. Who would ever think that he would have to forego his home, his family home, to pay for cancer treatment? Healthcare costs do not pick their victims at all. It's a shame that our country, for one of the most industrialized country in the world, has to have these costs associated with getting the care that you need. I do ask that all of you think about the next time you hear somebody say, the prices are so high because the doctors are getting the money. Please know that's not true. In some payment and compensation methodologies, it can be somewhat true. However, those bound by insurance contracts and negotiated rates and contractual adjustments, it's not. The country and the people and the citizens of the United States like to think that they're all experts in the field of healthcare. It is one of the most dynamic and complex arenas that you could ever pick apart and try to decipher logistically, policy, and just as a whole. We have to have open minds. We have to think like Atul Gawande and Joe Biden and continue the quest to search for a way that we can help these Americans, help all of us have equal access to health care, be healthy, population health. We all have to help each other. Absolutely. So, on the last note, I wish all of you the best. I wish all of you the best health. And I certainly hope that some of these financial challenges do not face any one of you. Thank you.